So this conversation is for you if you've made your human design chart and you've found out you're a reflector, or you're here to find out more about your friends and family who are reflectors. Now, I want to start out here by saying that reflectors are incredibly rare. They are only 1 or 2% of the world population. So I'm really happy that you found human design. Welcome. And let's speak about what it's like to be a reflector and how to align with the flow of your life. Now, there really isn't much information out there about reflectors, and many of you are misunderstood. So I hope this conversation, you'll feel a bit more seen, a bit more recognized, and a bit more understood. And hopefully this is the first of many, because I think there's more information that needs to come out about this. So right now, when you first come to human design, you may feel some of the following. You may feel deflated by the predictability of the world and people around you. You may feel disappointed by some elements of life and the way that things are. You may feel unsure about who you are, who you exactly are. You might feel confused why you feel different each and every day. You may feel different than everyone else around you, and aware that you move a lot slower than everyone else around you. Now, truly, reflectors are here to feel surprised by life. You are here to witness and participate in life while feeling surprised each and every day. There is nothing worse for a reflector than feeling deflated and disappointed about how things are around you, how they are the same or predictable. And the real truth here for you is that nothing is ever the same. There is so much to be surprised about. There is so much new to experience. There are so many different versions of you to discover. There are so many different experiences you are here to discover. And everything is always ever changing, just as you are. Now, so many of you are trying to fit in with society, trying to be consistent and participate in the same things as everyone else is. And it's just creating this disappointment within you. You aren't the same as other people around you. You see so much more in so many different ways than they do. Your vision and your inner inconsistency is something I want to reframe for you and to help you connect with during this conversation. Now, firstly, let's start with giving you some permissions. You are here to wake up each and every day and discover who you are on that particular day. You are here to witness and notice how society is changing through time. And you are here to feel surprised by life, rather than feeling deflated and disappointed by people and situations. Now, let's look into why you became so conditioned and why it's led to this feeling of disappointment in the first place. When you think about a reflector growing up, you were very, very different. Reflectors are 1 or 2% of the world, and your aura is designed to be very, very different than everyone else on this planet. Your aura samples the world, and nothing sticks to it. You sample the experience, the person, the job, and then you let it go. That's what your aura is designed to do. You're designed to see, to zoom in on a particular thing, to see it, and then to zoom back out, to build a big picture in your mind based on the things that you've seen and experienced. Your aura is known as a Teflon aura. Things come in for you to sample, and then you spit them back out again. You remove them from your energy. All that remains is the view that you've seen, the view that has added to your overall monitoring of the world as it is. And your aura is there to protect you. If you've seen your chart, you will have known that your chart is completely open. There are no defined centers in your chart. That is a lot of potential conditioning, a lot of potential vulnerability and challenges, a sensitivity to people, the environment. You pick up so much. The pressures of the world around you. Now, your aura is the thing which buffers you from the world. It buffers the experience. You're not completely overwhelmed by it all. Instead of feeling the world all the time, you're sampling the world. That's what your aura does. But it can mean, however, that you feel misunderstood, that you are misunderstood, that no one fully sees who you are and how you are experiencing the world, because you do so in such a different way. You can be a bit of a mystery to people. And I imagine for many of you, you're kind of a mystery to yourself sometimes because you feel different all the time. And I'll explain this a little bit later on as well. But because you feel different all the time and you have no one to model yourself on because there are so few reflectors in the world, you don't know what to do with your differentness. You don't know how to harness that. When you were born into the world, you would have felt very different to the people around you. Your aura provokes others with its reflection. They see themselves through your aura. Your aura buffers the world from you, but it reflects so much back to the other person. You mirror so much to other people. It can be unintentionally confronting sometimes. And it's not intentional, it's just aura mechanics. And it can be confronting to the other person depending on their relationship with themselves. When you grow up, you learn what it is to be part of the world. You learn what society is all about and you soak it in. And you are sensitive to the world around you. What you take in is going to shape you if you allow it to. And while you are in your conditioned self, you mirror and you amplify the homogenized world rather than a really, really unique version of this. You fall out of flow with yourself and the natural world. And you are here to be so in tune with that. So in this process, there can be disappointment that builds. You feel misunderstood and unaligned to yourself. You know that something is up, but you're not quite sure what, and you don't know what to do about it. You try to be the same as everyone else, and you try to fit in. Your relationships with others is interesting because the aura reflects back to the other person. They see themselves in your aura, and we'll dive into this into another conversation because it's really interesting and it can be confronting at times. And I know this because when I started out doing sessions with reflectors, I was nervous to do these sessions because of how different reflectors were. There's less information about reflectors. So I was a little bit nervous. Over time, that's changed after speaking to a few of them. But interestingly, my nerves were always mirrored back to me in these sessions in a much more amplified way than in any other type of session with any other energy type. It made me more nervous when I felt my nerves being mirrored back. So this is your relationship with yourself or the person that you're with, their relationship with themselves. That's why sometimes the relationship can be confronting because it's mirroring back to them whatever they're feeling. If they're feeling nervous, it's reflecting the nerves back. And it's not your fault, it's just mechanics. I know from doing the sessions with those reflectors, my nerves were being mirrored back. They weren't making me nervous. It was very much a me thing. But it's the reflector aura. It's all unintentional. It's all mechanics. So you are here to be completely different than any other energy type. You have a completely different aura. The truth is, reflectors are here to have a heightened awareness of the world around them. To be completely non-judgmental, but yet be a witness to everything going on. There can be this completely unimposing, unobtrusive ability to your aura. You can be the witness in a room without anyone noticing you. You can lead, guide, facilitate without it being obtrusive or overpowering within the group. There's a really different quality to a reflector and your aura. Now, what are the roles reflectors are here to play in the world as this 1% of humanity? Reflectors are here to play an incredibly unique part in the ecosystem of the world. You are our eyes, truly. I've met philosophers, writers, podcast hosts who are all reflectors. That doesn't mean those are the only jobs out there for reflectors to do, but essentially reflectors are here to reflect back to us what they see. And often this happens over a period of time. You see the subtle shifts and the big shifts in our world and our societies. You pay attention and you can spot the energy change. You can spot the cultural shifts. You can spot the environment shifts. Reflectors are often described as our bookkeepers. As a stereotype, reflectors are like an accountant who has been keeping track of all the spending which has been happening and informs their client of a shift in their spending habits over the course of a year, a month, a decade. Now, this is just an analogy, but we need you. We need your views. We need your observations. We need your facilitation. We need your guidance. Now, what does this mean on a personal basis? Because we've spoken about the big picture quite a lot because this is the way of a reflector. Yet, on a day-to-day basis, reflectors are different. You wake up feeling different each day. This is why it's hard to truly know yourself. There are so many things impacting your experience of life. Really, the main conditioning thing for you are the planets. We look at the openness in your chart and we see all of these hanging gates, and we can see how the planets will be conditioning you as they move through the sky each day. There are other things as well, like food and sleep and people. But with the planets, you don't realize what's going on, and this can be confusing. You could blame the weather or a bad night's sleep or how a person behaved with you for the feeling that you're feeling. Yet none of this is a thing which is changing how you truly feel inside. The planets are moving and they're making you feel like a completely different person each day. And I wouldn't say this to all other energy types. You are incredibly affected by these shifts. You are changing daily. You are a different person each and every day of your life. Therefore, what you see each day changes. What you feel each day changes. And who you are each day changes. Now, this inconsistency is something that is frowned upon within society. At least it's not understood. We're told to be consistent. But I want you to know that you are here to be different each day, to feel different each day. And that's part of your alignment to thrive. Your question is, who am I today? And I want you to ask yourself that as you wake up each morning. I want you to allow yourself to be different. I want you to allow the inconsistencies to happen. And I want you to allow your views to shift each day. The disappointment comes for you when you feel these things, but you suppress them because, well, the world demands of me that I'm consistent, that I show up in a consistent way. And it causes the disappointment. And you aren't here to be disappointed by life. You're here to feel surprised. Now, if you're here for a friend or a family member, what you can do to help reflectors move out of disappointment is to show them things that will surprise them. Take them to a new place. Show them something new. Invite them to experience something different. Take them out of the consistency of life. Help them be surprised by life. So how do you align with your true path and your surprise? Now, I need you to know that life will look different than anyone else around you. And you have to be okay with that path being different. And no one else can align you to that path than you. Now, the biggest piece of advice I can give to you as a reflector is to slow down with your decision making. Quick decision making will take you off track. And when I say quick decision making, that could be making a decision in a day, even a week. That's quite quick for a reflector. Making these quick decisions will turn your life in a chaotic way, in an unaligned, chaotic way. Now, as a reflector, you'll likely know this deep down. You'll likely know that you're here to wait a little bit longer than most to make a decision. And you likely know that you're not always sure of what decision you want to make. And I want you to know that's okay. Now, in your alignment process, the challenge for a reflector is, how do I make a decision when I feel different every day? Where's the consistency? And this is where you admit to yourself, oh yes, I feel different every day because my decisions always change. And I want to give you something to ground yourself in. This isn't something you'll find in many other modalities, but from human design, you have a monthly cycle. Now, this is for both male and female. There isn't a gender to this. All reflectors have a monthly cycle. It's dictated by the moon. Now, the moment you need to make a decision, you need to mark that date on your calendar and wait 29 days before you make a decision on that thing. And I want you to start experimenting with that. You can check in with yourself every day if you'd like, but you still need to wait. You might even need to wait 2 or 3 cycles before you truly know. Your consistency in your inconsistent inner world is the moon. The moon has a cycle, and that is what you ground yourself to. So here's what I want you to do after this call. As you move through life, I want you to start moving in flow with what feels right to you each day. Start attuning to those natural rhythms of yourself and the world around you. I want you to notice how different today is than yesterday. I want you to start noticing how different the world is this year than last year. I want you to start monitoring the grounding consistencies of your lunar cycle. And I want you to notice the things which surprise you, and to know there is always something else that will surprise you. I want you to move away from staying in a feeling of disappointment in that comfort zone. It's something you can journal on. What surprised me today? What was predictable, but what was surprising? Focus on that part. Maybe journal about what you've noticed has changed. What's different? What's your view on this? Now, this is a much wider conversation, and I will create more resources on this because there isn't much out there available to reflectors, and there's so many other conversations we can have. But I hope this has given you an insight into what a reflector is and why you feel so different. So start with these steps and keep an eye out for other next steps and other videos that I create on this. Or you can always book a session with myself to find out your specific information as a reflector, because even though your chart is open and looks the same as every other reflector is unique. You have a different combination of gates and a different combination of deeper layers.